Vas-y, monte enfin. معاكي. Oh, fuck, let's go. I think somebody's upstairs.
Venturing into abandoned buildings alone can be terrifying. But what happens when you encounter someone or something you'd rather never meet? Like this first encounter. That was shared by Road to Decay, a channel run by 3 Belgian urban explorers who document their journeys into forgotten, decaying locations across Europe. From grand estates to crumbling factories, their content captures the haunting beauty of abandonment. And in this video, uploaded on October 27, 2017, the trio set out to explore an old abandoned factory on the outskirts of Antwerp, Belgium. Their goal was simple: to photograph the slow decay of a once bustling industrial space. But what started as an exciting exploration quickly turned into something much more unsettling. Arriving at the massive complex, the friends could barely contain their excitement. The building's eerie silence and sheer size added to the thrill. This was exactly the kind of place they loved to explore, and was likely the one living in that room, who did not look pleased to see them. He didn't say much, but his body language said enough. The explorers kept calm, acted respectfully, and did their best to diffuse the tension without provoking a confrontation. Thankfully, it worked. As the man eventually walked away, the trio took a moment to regroup. They kept an eye on where he went, just to be sure, and when the coast seemed clear, they made the smart decision to leave. They may not have seen the entire factory that day, but they left with something far more important: their safety intact. Urban exploration can be exciting, but it's not without its risks. And in places like this, you're not always alone. Sometimes the most unexpected danger isn't from collapsing ceilings, but from the unknown lives that still linger within these ruins. In the end, the group felt a mix of disappointment and relief, cutting the exploration short, but avoiding what could have been a much worse outcome. Some places may be abandoned. As you may know by now, they're never truly empty. What would you have done in their shoes? Let us know your thoughts. And from hidden dangers lurking in abandoned factories, we shift to towering risks deep in the wilderness. Because sometimes, it's not just about who you might encounter, but what you're willing to face alone. And that brings us to Sasha, the fearless explorer behind my journey. Quick interruption. If you're enjoying this video, why not hit that subscribe button? We're on a mission to hit 300,000 subscribers, and when we do, 3 lucky fans will win a limited edition items. Right now, 61.2% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. We're pushing for at least 40%, and we need your help to make it happen. It's completely free, and your support helps us make even more awesome videos. So, don't miss out, subscribe now, and let's get back to the video. A creator known for pushing limits and braving the wild with fearless determination. His channel features everything from battling through snowstorms and exploring crumbling off-limit structures to building survival shelters entirely by hand. No matter the conditions, Sasha always finds a way to make the impossible look doable. But in the video he shared on May 9, 2025, even he may have pushed things a little too far. In this episode, Sasha sets out on another breathtaking solo adventure, hiking deep into the mountains on a mission to find an abandoned mountain tower he'd read about. His goal? To reach it and climb it. He knew it would be a challenge, but what he didn't know was just how intense and dangerous it would become. After hours of navigating rugged terrain and thick wilderness, Sasha finally lays eyes on the tower he'd been searching for. Sasha had expected the tower to be large, but standing beneath it now, he realized he had underestimated its scale completely. It was massive, towering high above the trees like a forgotten relic from another era. Still, true to his word, he pressed on. Determined, he began the climb, step by step, intent on reaching the highest point possible before heading back down to set up camp nearby. It was all part of the plan. But looking back, that plan might not have been the best one after all. Most people would probably call him reckless, maybe even crazy, for attempting something this dangerous. But for Sasha, this was the kind of thrill he lived for. The higher the risk, the more alive he felt. So, without hesitation, he continued climbing, step by step, pushing himself to reach the highest point possible. No fear, no second thoughts, just pure determination. But up there, surrounded by silence and sky, things started to feel different. Fueled by adrenaline, Sasha finally reached the top of the tower. The view was breathtaking, mountains stretching endlessly in every direction. But the awesome quickly gave way to alarm. The wind had picked up, fast, and far stronger than it had been during his climb. Suddenly, the descent seemed far too risky, and that's when the panic set in. Up there, fully exposed and with no safe way down, Sasha had to make a decision. Fortunately, he had brought his camping gear all the way up, so, with no other option, he set up camp right there at the top of the tower, hoping the wind would calm by morning, and that the night wouldn't bring any new surprises. Despite the circumstances, Sasha stayed positive, embracing the situation as just another layer of the adventure. He watched the sunset from a place few would ever dare to reach, ate a quiet meal inside his tent, and tried to get some rest beneath a sky scattered with stars. By morning, the wind had calmed just enough. It wasn't perfect, but it was manageable. Relieved, Sasha carefully packed his gear and began his descent. Step by step, he made it down safely, proving once again that sometimes the most important part of any challenge is how you respond when things don't go as planned. We can only admire the way he stayed calm, focused, and grounded in the face of risk. Because let's be honest, this could have ended very differently. A powerful reminder that even when everything goes off track, your mindset can still lead you home. And that takes us straight into this next unsettling exploration that was shared by the YouTube channel Explore Abandoned Places with Tattoo Tony Alton, which is run by Tony, a seasoned urban explorer who often dives deep into forgotten, crumbling locations across the country. Sometimes he brings friends along, other times he ventures into solo. But in this episode, uploaded on July 5th, 2017, Tony wasn't alone. He and a friend set their sights on an abandoned hospital just outside of Chicago, a location that had caught their attention due to its massive size and ominous reputation. Tony has never been one to shy away from a thrill, but this place, it was different. The tension was there from the start. The moment they arrived, the two slipped inside quickly, trying to avoid any unwanted attention. Once indoors, they were instantly taken back by the sheer amount of forgotten equipment, hospital beds, peeling paint, and eerie silence. Their fascination with what was left behind quickly overpowered their sense of caution. But maybe it shouldn't have.
That one's a pussy. Damn, another floor? After this floor?
This place looked like it was ripped straight out of a horror movie. And both of them admitted they were relieved to be there during daylight hours, because even then, the atmosphere was unnerving enough. They figured the creepy vibes were coming from the expected elements. But soon, they'd capture something that added a whole new layer of fear to the experience.
No eating during sessions. Look, life can be beautiful one day at a time. Oh, what's that? What's this sound?
It's like a fuse or something.
For shocking people's brains. That dude looks like a creep. Dude, I fucking thought I saw something cross that hallway, dude.
While filming one of the long, crumbling hallways, someone raced past their frame at an unnatural speed. At that moment, they weren't sure what they'd seen. Maybe a shadow or a trick of the light. So, brushing it off, they carried on with the rest of their exploration. Uneasy, but not alarmed. What the camera captured, however, was far harder to dismiss. A human-like figure, sprinting past in a way that didn't seem entirely human. Whatever it was, moved too fast, its shape only barely distinguishable, but undeniably there. Still unaware of what they'd caught, Tony and his friend wrapped up the visit without any further incidents. Eventually, they exited the building, thinking they'd had a spooky but otherwise uneventful trip. But the real surprise came later, after Tony returned home and started reviewing the footage. There, clear as day in that letter frame, was the mysterious figure. And in hindsight, Tony was incredibly relieved he hadn't noticed it at the moment. Who knows how things might have gone if they'd reacted to it, or worse, tried to confront it. He'd brushed it off at the time as nothing, but now it raised a flood of new questions. Was someone living in that decaying hospital? Was it a person at all? Or could it have been something else entirely? Something harder to explain? Tony never got any answers. But one thing's for sure, this had shocked him to his core. So, what do you think it was that ran through that hallway? A squatter? A spirit? Or something else altogether? Let us know what you believe, because whatever it was, it certainly didn't want to be seen. And Tony? He was lucky to walk out without ever realizing what had been so close. But not every explorer is spared that moment of realization in real time. Bobby, the creator behind the YouTube channel SCPC Ghost, is no stranger to eerie encounters. Known for his solo dives into haunted and abandoned places, Bobby's explorations often uncover things that many wouldn't dare to face. And in the video he posted on April 16, 2018, he set out to explore an old, crumbling house in Colton, California. At first, it seemed like just another routine exploration, but what he encountered inside was anything but ordinary.
Got an open door right here. Hello? Nice. Hello? Anybody here?
As Bobby stepped into the house, he immediately noticed something unusual. There were a surprising number of newer-looking items scattered throughout the rooms. It gave the eerie impression that someone might still be living there, possibly squatting in the shadows of this decaying home. Still, when he called out, no one answered. That gave Bobby a momentary sense of relief, but not enough to let his guard down completely. He remained cautious with every step, ready for anything.
Bathroom area. That really stinks. I'm just gonna stick the camera in there. Whew. Somebody's been shitting in there with no running water. I can't see nothing. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
In the darkness of one of the rooms, he saw a woman, seemingly hiding, curled up in the shadows.
I can't see nothing. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I can't see nothing. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Just taking some pictures of the property. I'll be out here in a second, all right? Scared me.
Bobby was stunned. He had no idea who she was, whether she was alone, or if someone else might have been in the house too. And he didn't wait around to find out. He quickly turned and made his way out, trusting his instincts and prioritizing his own safety. This is exactly why Bobby always announces himself when entering a place like this, to avoid dangerous surprises. But why the woman didn't respond to his voice remains a mystery to this day. Outside, Bobby could finally breathe again, both from the suffocating smell inside and from the weight of the unsettling encounter. Thankfully, the situation didn't escalate. But had she reacted differently? This story could have ended very differently. In urban exploration, you never really know what or who you'll find. Bobby's experience was a harsh reminder that in abandoned places, it's not always the building that poses the real threat, but what might be silently waiting inside. And while Bobby was alone that day, our next explorers weren't. But even with company, things can still get unsettling. This next video, uploaded on February 23, 2017, comes from the channel Explore Abandoned Places with Tattoo Tony Alton. This time, Tony was joined by his friend Andrew as they explored a forgotten home on the north side of St. Louis, Missouri. They didn't know much about its history, but that only made them more curious about what they might discover inside.
pigeons. Wow.
As they stepped through the doorway, Tony and Andrew were struck by how many belongings were still scattered throughout the house. But their fascination with the cluttered rooms distracted them from something important, the very real possibility that someone might still be living there, squatting in the shadows.
Hey, turn your light. Can you turn your light on? Yeah. I just want to see what hot.
Yeah, on my screen it looks like this one might be better even than... Alright everybody, it's Tattoo Tony, and he's got a respirator on. Yeah, for the first time. And I think I sound funny. Look, it's like my canisters are farting. Look, there's little Jordan shoes. Hey, stuff like this, I just found a baby birth announcement, an older one. Makes me wonder how that stuff gets left.
There was a heavy atmosphere inside, one that felt almost tragic. Personal photographs, clothing, and stacks of prescription medication littered the space. All of it hinted at a life interrupted. The more they saw, the more questions they had, and the deeper they pushed into the house. But things only got more bizarre from there.
Whoa. Well, dude. This is kind of weird, huh? That's crazy. What I gather from these pills are that this person was on a serious amount of pain medication. And, look, this dude must have got shot. So anyways, this person was on a shit ton of pain meds. And, they only took their narcotic pain medication. The non-narcotic shit has not been taken. Look at that brown red spot in that thong. That's nasty. Dude. Come and look at this. This is fucking crazy. Look at that photo. Did you see that? I'm gonna have to block that out of my video. What the fuck is going on in this place? This is kind of strange, isn't it? Whoa. Let's see the date on this paper. 2015.
The further they ventured, the more uneasy they felt. Despite all the dust-covered signs of the past, it began to look like someone had recently been living there. Signs of squatting became more obvious. That was the moment they decided it was best to leave. Whoever might be calling this place home could return at any moment. And they didn't want to stick around to find out what kind of mood that person might be in. Looking back, it was probably the right call. But what haunts the mind is everything left behind. The photos, the clothing, the medicine. What happened to the people who once called this place home? Why did they leave so much behind? And why does it feel like this house still holds on to their story? Maybe we'll never know. The walls hold stories, the silence holds memories, and sometimes something or someone still lingers. And in our next story, that same eerie uncertainty followed a group of friends into a crumbling Texas structure where excitement quickly gave way to unease. This video, shared on June 25, 2018 by the Texas Vlog channel, takes us along with three friends from Houston as they set out on an urban exploration adventure. Venturing into a massive, decaying structure that loomed like a skeleton of the past, abandoned, crumbling, and full of mystery. But as any seasoned explorer knows, places like these don't just carry history, they carry risk. And this outing was about to prove just how true that is. Fueled by curiosity and excitement, the group stepped inside, eager to see what was left behind. The atmosphere was heavy, with long, dark corridors and towering ceilings that seemed to groan with age. Still, despite the thrill of the unknown, a certain tension hung in the air. At first, their biggest concern was structural. The building was clearly on its last legs, with chunks of ceiling missing and unstable flooring that creaked with every step. One wrong move, and something could collapse. But as it turned out, that would soon be the least of their worries.
Where are you going?
The friends picked up on something strange. Faint music, echoing from somewhere beyond the walls. It wasn't loud or aggressive, but it was enough to raise eyebrows. Was someone else in there with them? Maybe just other explorers? Maybe graffiti artists? Or maybe something else? Hoping it was nothing more than harmless company, they pushed forward, their mood shifting from excitement to caution.
Let's go. Oh, let's go. I think somebody's upstairs.
The sounds weren't coming from one direction anymore. They were hearing movement from different areas of the building. The sense of being watched began to grow, and the friends realized this was no longer just a casual exploration. The risk of getting lost or worse, running into whoever was making those noises, was becoming very real. And that's when they made the call to leave. As one of them put it, "We don't live the thug life." This wasn't worth it. Disappointed not to have seen more, but relieved to make it back to the car safely, they ended the exploration with more questions than answers. Who or what was in the building with them? Why the music? Was it a group of strangers just like them, or something more unsettling? One thing's for sure. In urban exploration, sometimes it's not the building you have to fear. It's what might still be inside it. Now that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these horrifying clips, subscribe to my channel and click to see more on the video on screen.